Hello and good evening, everybody. Tonight to the ASSR Piston Cup Series. Tonight is race one of the chase. We are here at Chicagoland Speedway. They are starting to roll right now. But Michael Redding, then here, along with Andrew Cardinelli, we are going to have a fun race tonight, aren't we, Michael?
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good race here.
Right now, we've got Mike Montesi on the pole right now, as he's going to be leading us to the green flag in his number 7 Exide Chevy. What do you think you would expect to see here tonight, Michael?
I'm going to see a pretty grippy track from what I could tell from practice. They're going to have a lot of grip. I don't see much sliding around going on, so you're going to see some really hard battles into the corner.
All right, well, we're going to be expecting a lot, especially since this is the first race of the chase. So we're going to expect to see a lot of hard racing from each chaser just to try and get as much points. And I'm going to let you cut to the green flag, man.
All right. Mike Montesi is going to lead us here to the green flag with David Cook to his outside. Pace cars down.
Green, green, green.
And we're underway from Chicagoland. As Mike Montesi has got the lead as we head off into turn number one. Looks like the 49 of David Cook is going to be right there on his back bumper as they come down the back straightaway.
Yeah, if you see on the left quarter panel of that number 7 of Mike Montesi, I think he got a little rub from the number 67 there. But I don't think it's going to affect him because he's starting to pull out to a good lead there, Michael.
Yeah, looking very strong very early, but O'Connell's trying to take second away from Cook.
Yeah, and Blake O'Connell has really shown a whole bunch of strength the two races that we've done with these guys. At Darlington, he challenged Mike Montesi for the lead. At Richmond last week, he led a bunch of the race. Unfortunately, got caught up in a couple of incidents, but like you guys mentioned, Mike Montesi already on point, already taking command of tonight's race, and Blake O'Connell quick to follow.
Yeah, you can see back there in that number, that 04 there of Matthew Cox. He was a little squirmy there going through turn 4, but you can see that 49's trying to get past that 67.
Yeah, Montesi definitely wants to see that happen in his rearview mirror because as long as they're back there battling, he's going to keep pulling away.
As we come to the start-finish line, Mike Montesi is still commanding the field. And we've got a good battle here still with these three cars. So the 49 of David Cook, the 67 of O'Connell, and Matthew Cox. They are just duking it out like it's Saturday Night style.
Now we've got a good battle back here at about the 8th and 9th position back there. Was some two-wide racing. Looks like they've now single file, but everything's starting to get spread out.
Yeah, it's that number 18 of Joe Hudson and the number 1 of Jeremy Bazemore. Now they look like they're starting to get at it. Bazemore is a chase contender, so he's trying to get past these cars as fast as possible for more points and hopefully a win.
Bazemore should have had that race won last week, but just didn't have it there at the end as he slipped up, and it allowed Scott Brotherton to get by him.
Yeah, Bazemore really took control of the back half of that race there at Richmond. And then, like you said, Michael, Scott Brotherton came in. He had the lead earlier on, and then came back as it got down to time to grind, and just one slip up via connection for the number 1 is what ended up costing him the win. And Scott Brotherton, like you mentioned, ended up pulling out the win. That just solidified further his position in the chase here in the Manifold Truck Series. As now we head into Chicago. They've got 10 races, just like the NASCAR Cup Series. Same 10 tracks, and it's just going to be a battle the entire time.
Now, since I'm new to this series, do they have a chase format with the playoffs?
As far as eliminations, we will make sure we get clarification on that. We're actually going to be utilizing our in-race pit reporters once more this week. This time around, though, they will be the two brothers of Kurt and Jeremy Rittenberg. We're going to pull them aside any chance we can. Obviously, right now, we're not going to do that. They're out there racing. We got Chris Jennings battling the number 09 of Randy Roberts, and it looks like he's going to make that pass and go after the number 3.
Yeah, you can see there that 88 is trying to catch as much as he can, but it looks like they're going to try and go 3 wide just for 7th place up there.
Yeah, but I mean, this track's really grippy tonight. I know myself and Michael both got some laps in practice in our own car, and you know, it's really grippy. You can pretty much keep the truck wide open. There's a lot of downforce on these trucks. So there's going to be a lot of room, especially early in these runs, to be able to do what they want and battle for positions. And depending on how the track takes rubber, we'll see if that holds true at the end.
I'll tell you what I'm excited to see. If this race continues to stay green like it is and racing stays spread out, I'm wondering if it's going to come down to a fuel mileage race.
Yeah, I personally believe in the NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Xfinity Series and such. Those are always the best kinds of races. It really makes everyone involved think, whether you're watching, whether you're in the race. It makes you really think about what's going to go on, and hopefully we can see something like that happen tonight. But as we go up to the top 5 here, we've got the number 97, Garrett Robinson, running 5th. Right ahead of him, that's the number 04, Michael Cox. I believe he is in the chase for this season. Up ahead of him, that's David Cook in the number 49. Haven't seen him out here in these races just yet. But then we've got 2 very familiar names in both Blake O'Connell in the 67 and Mike Montesi in the number 7, still on point.
I think O'Connell's just going to try to get up on the wheel and do his best tonight to redeem himself from Richmond last week.
Maybe some sort of redemption, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. We see him already just asserting himself as someone who's going to be someone to watch. Maybe not this season. He's not in the chase. I believe he came into the league a little bit late.
Oh, the 49's in the grass. The 49 of David Cook. Lost it off turn 4.
Yeah, he's got some right side damage on him, but other than that, nothing else. He just drove through that grass, and it looks like he's just trying to get back to routine.
Definitely a good save. He kept it going. We stay green.
Yeah, we stay green there, but we're going to go ahead and utilize this time while we're still growing green to see what happened in that number 49. Looks like maybe with that right side damage like Skippy was talking about, maybe he got into the wall out of turn 4. Again, with a lot of grip, they're going to be pretty much flat out. And if you keep doing that for too long, you're going to wear the tires out too quickly, and you're going to push right up into that wall. So as we come through turns 3 and 4 on his view as that happened, he actually got loose, got down on the apron, and didn't even hit the wall, just got loose and caught it through the grass.
That's weird. Oh, and
oh, big trouble.
big trouble. There's one huge in the air. Holy moly. I think that must have been the 18 who was upside down. Yes, it is. Joe Hudson. He's going to lay down on his... Oh, my goodness. He's going to lay on his roof.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to see. Joe Hudson is one of the older crowd over here in this series, and he actually got a ride in the actual NASCAR Camp World Truck Series at Canadian Tire. I believe he was in the number 74, but that's unfortunate nonetheless to see him on his lid already in this race. Randy Roberts also involved, and of course we're going to take a look back at that, see what exactly happened. Going to get a whole view at the whole lap.
Yes, from what I'm seeing, it looks like the 09 and the 18 were just racing each other a little too hard. And push comes to shove, that's for sure.
Yeah, as we get a look here, they're coming through turns 3 and 4 on our replay. Number 18, number 09, side by side out of turn 4. And it looks like they were just going for the same piece of real estate. I don't think they knew each other were there, and they tried to clear one another and just one caught the other, and they went for a ride.
It seems like more that the 09 it was more of the '09 just coming straight down into the 18. But you know, he didn't. I bet he didn't know he was there. So it's disappointing for the both of them that their nights are, or their chances of winning are abruptly ended. But you know, push comes to shove.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was
well,
certainly nothing intentional about that. It was just a matter of, I think the '09 thought he was clear to come down, and he definitely wasn't, as we saw. But Randy Roberts certainly didn't do that by any intentional means at all.
yeah, from what I'm gathering from the in-race chatter is the '09 thought the 18 was going down in the apron, so he followed him down there and didn't realize that he hadn't went all the way down.
And we're going to take one more look at this. We're going to take a look at this time from the cockpit camera of the '09, and we'll see just how hard it is to really know where the other guy is. Let's see here. Yeah, from the cockpit camera, it's hard to see when you're going in that straight line, or I guess through the left-hander of the front straightaway. It's hard to see where that other car is and to know if he's going down to utilize the apron or not. Personally, when I'm racing on iRacing and we're at a track like this, I have a button that I have bound to look left, and I always look left before I make that move. Otherwise, I stay high, and if I run a lane high for that corner, I run a lane high. But you know, I don't want to end up doing what happened there. But certainly, it's a racing deal, by no means intentional by Randy Roberts. Unfortunate to see, though.
Well, it
Most
looks
definitely.
like Jeremy Bazemore's gonna take over the lead here.
And look at Garrett Robinson. He came down with the rest of the field, but I mean, I think he took 2 tires there.
Well,
So,
he's back in the
wondering
pits
if that's gonna pay
now.
off.
He's back in the pits now. It looks like maybe fixing some right side damage. Yeah, he's going to
Maybe.
hold in the pits a little bit longer than normal. Looks like he's fixing some right side damage here.
Yeah, I saw that hood was dented in a little bit, so good call on him to go and fix that damage before we go back to racing. As we were talking about Bazemore, it was his race to lose last week at Richmond, so him at the lead. Let's see if he can stay there for the rest of the race.
I think tonight's going to be probably the race that we have that shows the most lead changes. When it comes to Darling, actually, Bazemore's coming back in the pits. He might have had a penalty.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say if he doesn't have a penalty, he was staying out just to get a lap or two led. But it looks like he had a penalty. I'm not sure if it came in the first time or not, but we're going to go 1 to green here. Mike Montesi will take over point, followed by Blake O'Connell and Scott Brotherton. Then in 4th is Michael Cox. After him is Matthew Miller. And that's your top 5 going into this restart here. We're only a little ways in. We're on lap 19 of 115, so we've still got over 90 to go. Still a long haul for these guys, by all means. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. We've got already 4 big players that we've seen over the last few weeks, just right there, all on top of each other. Mike Montesi, Blake O'Connell not in the chase, but Scott Brotherton and Matthew Cox are. So, you know, it's points time. You got to get everything you can. With that said, though, Michael will let you take over the start. And, yeah, we'll see what happens here. Should be a good one.
All right. Pace cars pace them through 3 and 4. Making their way off of 4 now. Montesi and O'Connell will be the front row, with Brotherton and Cox on the second row. Pace cars down. Montesi fires. We're back underway here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, and immediately we see Mike Montesi get that launch. Scott Brotherton trying to clear Blake O'Connell into turn 1. He will do that. And he's going to take command of second place as we come out of turn 2 here. Blake O'Connell looking to cross him over. He's not going to have the run to do it.
Brotherton looks like he's a bat out of hell because he just is trying to command for the lead, but Mike Montesi's trying to hold him off. But if you see there, Montesi's got a little back bumper damage. Like I said, it must have been from the start, but it is sure not affecting him whatsoever.
O'Connell looking under Brotherton as they're coming into turn 2. Now exiting turn 2. He's going to go below Brotherton as they make their way down the back straightaway. Can he get the runoff into turn 3? Not there. The 04 Matthew Cox to the outside trying to get a run on O'Connell.
Yeah, that was a nice move by O'Connell. It's a little early to be pushing that far into the corner. He thought better of it. He could have dove down there if that was later in the race. It's going to cost him a spot, but it was very smart, very sportsmanlike to just let Brotherton go. He didn't have the nose there, backed out, and he'll get right back at it here with the 04s. We're on board on the right front, actually, just in front of the windshield and the A-pillar of the number 67. And I'll tell you what, that's one unique tailgate on the back of the 04.
Yeah, it must be for beautiful TN Designs with the Eat Me Chase This car. That's kind of funny design, but you can see that 67 of the TN Designs car just trying to make something happen against Matthew Cox, but Cox is holding them off.
Yeah, and we're already seeing cars push. We saw that number 67 truck come out of turn 2 a little bit wide there. We saw the number 3 push a little bit early out of 4. One thing we may see them push a little bit early for, they might not actually be pushing, they might just be trying to save their tires, take a wider angle, and really use all the racetrack to keep as much grip in the tires as possible. And now we've got Chris Jennings getting in on the battle. We saw him dominate at Darlington. We saw him try and get in the battle there at Richmond, but he got into some bad luck after having to start from the rear. And now he's right back in it in that number 88 Exalta Chevrolet.
You can see him. He's just waiting for one of those two drivers up ahead of him just to make a little mistake, and he'll be able to pounce on him because he's right there, just waiting for something to happen.
And apologies for cutting you off a minute ago there, Michael. Go ahead.
Oh, it's no problem. I was going to say the 04 and the 67 of Cox and O'Donnell, they were in a heck of a fight for that third position a minute ago, but it looks like Cox has pulled away from O'Donnell a little bit and is chasing down the 3 of Brotherton.
Yeah, it seems like Brotherton is... He looks like he's just riding clean out there, but I'm wondering if this 04 Eat Me car is going to make something happen. You know, I wonder what the backstory is behind that cheeseburger and the Eat Me car. Mike Montesi's still out to a commanding lead. He's just dominating this, better than Martin Truex Jr. at the Coke 600 last year. But you know, we are seeing a lot of good racing right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's been the common theme with this league. You know, we saw an increase in cautions back at Richmond. That's going to happen. We're at a short track. But we started off with Darlington here at PSI TV broadcasting for these guys. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen so many green flag laps run at Darlington, especially on the hot and slick surface, in the hot and slick weather. It was just a really great race to kick it all off. And then even last week, it was a lot of respectful racing. And we're continuing that theme here this week at Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. And we've still got a long ways to go, but already, you know, just putting on that same theme of just running respectfully, knowing when to push, when not to push, and knowing what moves to make and what moves not to make.
I tell you, the battle right now is for that 8th spot between the 5 of James McKee, the 49 of David Cook, and the 10 of Mike Perry. Those guys have been trading paint back and forth back here for the past couple of laps.
Yeah, that's for sure. We see the number 49. He fell back a little bit after the start, but he's hanging in there. He's not too far back. You know, he had that slip up, go through the grass, and he went all the way to the back of the field, really, and now he's already back into the top 10. I think he's got a really good Chevrolet underneath him tonight. He's chasing down the number 10, like you said, Michael. The number 10 Drive to End Hunger Chevrolet Silverado. Looks very good. Nice little nod back to Jeff Gordon, but behind them, Jimmy McKee in the number 5 Red Bull Toyota. We've seen him in that same truck for a couple of weeks. And he's been putting on some pressure. Looks like maybe one of the just more consistent guys, kind of maybe a dark horse in the chase. Maybe not always up there to contend for a win, but always there at the end trying to make something happen.
Oh, I see that. Garrett Robinson came in very, very early. I'm wondering what's going on over there. It seems like he's got a little bit of damage, but it seems like he's just taking a regular 4-tire stop.
I tell you what, don't look now, but Scott Brotherton is chasing down Mike Montesi. Earlier it was a 9/10 of a second lead. It's now to a 4/10 second lead.
Yeah, I think the 3 and the 04 are probably going to have the best chance at Mike Montesi here in about 10 more laps. Once they can, try and hold off on themselves, try and save their tires a little bit, get at them on the long run, I think that's going to be where they're going to have to try and strive for excellence to try and catch that number 7. But, the last 2 weeks, we've only been with these guys for a couple of weeks, but Mike Montesi has just already been the class of the field along with a couple other guys like Scott Brotherton, who we see out in P2 in the number 3.
I'm shocked to see O'Connell just riding around back here in 6th position. He was showing his strengths earlier in this race, and I guess he's decided to back off and save a little bit.
Yeah, now that you mention him and we go back, we see... Oh, well, there's caution out.
Caution out.
There's caution. We'll get back to it in just a
and
moment.
And I believe it's with the double O car of Kurt Rittenberg. He hit the wall, and he's backwards right now. Oh, I'm going to see what happened here. It seems like he just got loose off the floor and spun it.
Yeah, as we now go back, in turn 4, he did the same thing as the 49, caught that apron, got loose, did a decent job of keeping it off the wall, actually really good job of keeping it off the wall. That could have been a lot worse than it was. Good job of him to just spin it out and go to the top side, really, of the track instead of trying to catch it in the bottom groove and be in the way of the rest of the field. He did a good job there. Probably not the best time to go to him, though, for an in-race reporter like we said we might, so we'll look through the channels here, see if we can't contact the number 26 of Jeremy Rittenberg.
It looks like the 97 of Garrett Robertson has took it behind the pit wall and took it to the garage.
Disappointing night for him. He started 4th in tonight's race, so disappointing time to see him leave early. Or I'm sorry, not 4th, 5th. So disappointing for him, but that's what happens.
And now we're going to be contacting one of our 2 in-race supporters for the night, Jeremy Rittenberg. Jeremy, pulled you aside for a moment. We're not coming in for your stop. Good job there getting in the box, actually. How's the truck feeling so far tonight, and how do you think it's going to transition as the track takes rubber?
Well, it's actually went horrible, and if horrible was a word, I would use that as well. It's getting really tight and sliding right up to that wall.
Yeah, we saw a lot of guys push right away on both the start and restart. Looks like maybe for just a moment, just a couple of laps there in the middle of the run, it might get a little bit better, and then it goes right back to pushing. Is there anything, even with fixed setups here on iRacing, that you think you might be able to do to try and correct that, or is it just down to throttle control and, making sure you're not in the gas too long?
Yeah, right now it's looking like entry. You miss that entry now, and really can mess up the whole entire turn, and then you just lose so much speed once you get behind here in traffic. It gets pretty wicked.
All right, well, since you're in the chase, we may as well ask you, what's your plan, even if tonight doesn't go the way you want it, what's your plan going into New Hampshire and Dover, just to try and take advantage of this first round, if we have rounds here? I'm actually not clear on that, so if you could clear that up as well, that'd be appreciated, but just what's your plan moving forward in the chase to try and win this championship?
The plan for the chases in this first round is there's going to be 4 races, and we're awarding the bonus points and race points as we did through the entire season. And we will go ahead and tabulate that for the 12 drivers that are in the chase. After the 4 races are over, it will be the bottom 4 will be eliminated and we'll continue on. To get that far, however, I really think it's just going to be staying consistent, and in my case, starting way in the back is just consistently move myself up to the front and try to be there at the end.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck going forward tonight and in the rest of the chase. Hopefully, we can talk to Kurt. Hopefully, when he's not a little bit disappointed about spinning out there, hopefully we'll get with him a little bit later. As plan is, I think, to have both the brothers as the in-race reporters tonight. So, nice talking to you. Hopefully, we can catch back up with you and Kurt later on. And again, best of luck to you.
All right, thanks, guys.
While those interviews or the interviews being conducted, Randy Roberts in the 09 took his behind the wall as well. And it looks like Mike Montesi's going to keep the lead as come off of pit road. Scott Brotherton second, Matthew Cox fourth, David Cook fourth, Chris Jennings fifth.
Yeah, and so as we got that caution for Kurt Rittenberg in the 00, what I was going to mention, as Michael mentioned the number 67 of Blake O'Connell, was that the number 49, David Cook, was already back up into the top 5 almost. Had already gotten by a couple more cars just in the lap or so that we let him be. And yeah, he's right back in the thick of things.
That's good for him. I mean, I believe he's in the chase, right? So this would be a good chance for him to put up as much points or maybe get up there and stick up there.
Clarification on that, the 49 is not in the chase. We've got the number 1 and number 3 that I believe are, but it's Michael for the call.
10-4.
All right, the pace car's fixing to drop down.
Green flag.
And the 7 of Montesi's going to fire off. We're back underway in Chicagoland. The 04 of Matthew Cox is underneath the 3 of Brotherton. He's going to take the position as they head off into turn 2. The 49 now of David Cook going to take the spot away from Brotherton. Brotherton is slipping back here on the restart as they head down the back straightaway and into turn number 3.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that, Michael, the number 3 going backwards, one thing that you have to take from that interview with Jeremy Rittenberg is it's a one-groove race. I mean, the track is just one groove track. There's really no grip if you miss the corner. The track is just too tight. So if you don't get just right in that line, you're going to go backwards, as we see the 3 already losing a bunch of spots. Jimmy McKee going to be the next one to take advantage of that if he can. After that's going to be Blake O'Connell. But like you mentioned, Scott Rittenberg going backwards, I have to believe that was just because he started on the top side of the number 7, Mike Montesi, as he looks like he's getting challenged for the lead. And he is number 49 down to the bottom. We may have a new leader.
And it's going to go to Cook as they cross the line and head into turn number 1.
And he's clear.
Yeah, he's got it.
Clear up. And there he goes. Now let's see if the 7's going to try and make a crossover move. He's going to go to the bottom. He touches him. But he's going to let him go.
O'Connell's making his way as he's making some of those crazy passes around the bottom.
Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a tough passing game all night long. That was a really good move by David Cook there. We didn't see the whole thing, but still a really good move to take the lead and try and run away from the 7 a little bit. He's actually gapping Mike Montesi in the X-Side Chevrolet Silverado. Chris Jennings going underneath the 04. And like I said, and like Jeremy said, it's a one-groove track. If you don't get the corner just right, get down to the bottom, consider this Martinsville and you're going to the back.
That's what happens to you. He was saying if horrible is a word, he would use it to describe it. So as you can see, these drivers are somehow able to work it out, and I'm impressed that they're still everybody hasn't hit the wall yet. And again, you can see that 49, he's just trying to stay consistent, not go too hard, because he uses too hard. I mean, he has a likely chance of scraping that car against the wall, and that could likely kill his race.
Now, I'm back here watching this battle for the 4th, 5th, and 6th position. Brotherton's trapped behind the 5 of McKee and the 67 O'Connell. He just cannot seem to get by him. Seems to be faster than him, but just cannot find the position to make the pass.
And that time we saw the 67 of Blake O'Connell somehow round the top side, roll it out of the corner. He got the run on Jimmy McKee. He's going to have the nose and most of the truck ahead into turns 3 and 4. Comes out of turn 4, has that momentum on his side, and he makes the pass on the outside. Something I didn't think we'd see, at least not for the moment. Scott Brotherton might look to do the same. He's looking low now into 1. He won't make the pass just yet. Blake O'Connell working his way through traffic. Scott Brotherton having some trouble.
I can see that at number 3 is he touched that number 5 going into turn 1, but if he sees right behind him, he's got 2 chasers. I believe that is Double D, David Doliver, and Jeremy Bazemore. So they're trying to pass these non-chasers so they can get more spots to get them a safer spot moving on.
Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and give a nice little, recap of everyone who's in the chase. That's going to be Jeremy Bazemore in the number 1, Scott Brotherton in the number 3, like we've covered, Matthew Cox in the number 04, and David Dolliver, as we ride on board with him right now, in the number 23. Also, Jeff Gilmore, who unfortunately isn't here tonight, in the number 57. After that's the 88 of Chris Jennings, the number 33 of Doug McCollum, the number 5 of Jimmy McKee, the number 84, Jimmy North, who we haven't talked about at all yet tonight. Also, Mike Perry, Jeremy Rittenberg, and Kurt Rittenberg. So we've got, looks like a 12-truck field, a whole bunch of drivers vying for position in the chase. And there's not going to be a whole lot of spots to go around. You know, we're already seeing a whole bunch of them on top of each other. Like we've been mentioning, Jeremy Bazemore, David Dolliver, Scott Brotherton, and others. Chris Jennings moving up into the top 3. There's so many to count. It's hard to single out these battles. We got to spin up ahead. That's the number
5 of James McKee.
Yeah, the number 23, the number 5, the number 1 may have got some damage. Not totally sure if Bazemore got any damage. It looked like maybe with that checkup on the 23, he might have taken a little bit. James McKee may be done for the night. We were just talking about how good he was doing up in the top 10. But we'll go ahead and get a look back here. Coming into turn number 1 here on the replay, we'll see what happens.
Looks like Mike Payton involved, Kevin Mass is involved, James McKee's involved.
Yeah, I think what happened, he just got a little bit loose out of 2, and Brotherton just had nowhere to go. The 4, the 08 collect him. Another driver through the grass, that was Kurt Rittenberg, and that's actually a perfect example. Getting set back early in this race it's really gonna hurt you. Kurt Rittenberg almost was in that wreck. He did some nice avoiding to miss it. But we'll get a closer look at what happens here with Jimmy McKee and the rest of the wreck.
Ooh.
We see him getting loose out of turn 2. Scott Brotherton pushes up, didn't have a whole lot of space to go. That's gonna be the number 23, number 1. Also, the number 40 piles in, gets right into the back of the 5, and I believe we had some others. Yep.
Just wanted to give up a little clarification. From what I'm seeing, I see that the 3 and the 5 actually made netcode. So, disappointing that netcode had to come at that time. This early in the race, and ruined not only James's race but Scott's race. And a lot of other people's races.
It looks like Louis Robinette's going to stick out in the 03 to get his bonus point.
Well, the thing to keep in mind there with number 3 is he ain't got a whole lot of damage. He just made a little bit of contact with the right front. The number 1 is going to be someone to worry about, the number 23 as well. After that, I think the 08's probably going to be done from contention. This is a very aero-dependent race, as we're already seeing. and obviously the 5 will be done. That's Jimmy McKee himself who wrecked. But the thing with netcode there, Skippy, is, that was such a small gap. Netcode wouldn't have changed that wreck at all. It really, we even take a look back at it, it was such a small gap that it would not have changed the outcome there any. I mean, because you have to consider the 3's pushing up out of the corner. He's not going to be able to yank the wheel to the left and change where he's going just at an instant. So if the 5 is checking up and he has nowhere to go, it's still going to happen. So, I mean, I don't mean to call you out necessarily. I'm just, if everyone watching at home maybe not totally familiar with netcode, basically it's the sim, because this is on the internet, it's the sim predicting where cars will be. Sometimes it's not totally right, as we saw right there. It was just a very small sliver of netcode, though it wasn't much. But it is a good thing to call out nonetheless, Matt Skipper. But I just, in that case, I don't think it would have changed a single thing about that wreck.
I can see where you're coming from with that. I mean, you could see that it was going to happen from a mile away, but we just did not know when. And disappointing for both of them that it had to end like that.
As I was looking earlier after that wreck in pit stops, it looked like the 3 has got a little bit of right front damage still.
Yeah, I think maybe he doesn't know quite how severe it is. It's nothing severe. I shouldn't even say severe. But I don't think he has a very good idea of the magnitude. It's really hard to see from the cockpit. And we don't have, totally accurate spotters here on iRacing. It's just a sim-generated spotter with, basic text sayings that it already says. It's programmed. It's all programmed to say, basically, car outside, car inside. So the in-sim spotter can't tell the drivers if there's damage here or there. And without a real-life spotter stepping in, it's hard to know what kind of damage is there. So I think he's just kind of underestimating it. But give him this run. I think it's going to impact his aero, send him backwards a little bit. I think he'll get that fixed on in the next chance.
It looks like Cook and Montesi's going to lead us to the green here on this restart. Blake O'Connell in 3rd, Matthew Cox 4th, Chris Jennings 5th, Scott Brotherton in 6th, Jeremy Bazemore in 7th, David Dolliver in 8th, Jimmy North in 9th, and Mike Perry in 10th.
And Michael, as you bring us to the restart here, we're going to go on board from the roof cam on the number 67 of Blake O'Connell. He'll be restarting directly behind the 49 of David Cook, to the inside of the 7 of Mike Montesi and the 04 of Matthew Cox, and in front of the number 88 of Chris Jennings. Out of turn 4 we come, and it's your call, Michael.
Pace car makes his way down. And we are back underway at Chicagoland as David Cook will jump out to the advantage as they head off into turn number 1. O'Connell working underneath the 7 of Montesi, and the 04 and the 88 are side by side as Jennings is going to make a run through the bottom, and he's going to move up to the 3rd position as they head down the back straightaway.
There we can see that 88. He's going to try and get to the bottom of that 67 car as he's going to get somewhat of the advantage, but he's not going to slowly get it off of 4. 67 almost hit the wall. They're going 2 by 2 coming across the line. They're still 2 by 2 coming into 1.
Yeah, and that's
second once more as he's going to chase down the 49 of Cook, and I believe he will get there and take it from him. I'm sorry about that, Andrew.
Oh, that's fine, but that's a killer restart Chris Jennings is going to need later on in the race as well, as to go from 5th to 2nd in just a lap. He got the run, like you said, on the number 04 going into 1 and 2. Then he got the run down the back straightaway on Blake O'Connell into 3. We saw that one after going on board with Blake for the start. And now he's just, making work of 2nd place, trying to keep that spot from Mike Montesi as he puts on a challenge from 3rd. That result to Chevrolet Silverado already looking strong, but here comes Blake O'Connell back around the top of Mike Montesi, see if he can't put on a show up top. And he's going to lose that spot. So that's Mike Montesi up to P3. Blake O'Connell's going to lose the line and possibly fall victim to the number 1 of Jeremy Bazemore.
Yeah, 67 had good momentum on that beginning of the start, but then it just all died out quickly. And you can see Mike Montesi, that top three is starting to pull away. That 67's going, oh, no, 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 no. You might be pulling away, but we've got a good single file line ahead of us, and we're going to try and catch you guys. As you can see, the 67 still fighting to keep his fourth spot, but Jeremy Bazemore is not going to do anything right now. It just seems like he's just going to ride and keep going until some leaders make a mistake and he can pounce on them.
Yeah, it looks like the 88, Chris Jennings, he's just trying to figure out where he's going to be able to get by David Cook at. He's going to work the high side going into turn one. Now he's going to stay right there on the bottom with him. He's come off of turn two, and he's really pulling up to him going in the corner, but he's losing his ground on exit.
Yeah, here he comes. It looks like he wants to pass that number 7 there. He's just, like I said before, he's waiting for them to make just a tiny mistake, and he'll have the momentum to pass them. And it seems like it's not coming yet, but for sure that TN Designs truck is really gonna make a huge impact in the later version of this race.
Yeah, and as we're on board here with Jeremy Bazemore from 5th, we're going to watch this battle between Mike Montesi and Blake O'Connell as the laps wind down. We've got 56 to go. The ticker just switched from lap such and such of 115 to now 55 to go. So we're just counting down the laps as number one's going to get the move on the inside of the 67. I think you really just have to be really careful with how you take this track, really fight for that bottom, and unfortunately Blake O'Connell may be looking to do a little too much for the current state of the track, but he may be able to hold Jeremy Bazemore to a disadvantage coming out of the corner. We'll see as this battle goes on who can come out on top.
They almost tapped coming into 4, and that would have been a huge wreck if that would have happened, and another disappointing night for Bazemore if that ever happened. You can see that 67 is right on that 7's back bumper, or that damaged back bumper, and he wants to pass him, but he doesn't know how to because this is only a one-line track. He's going to go to the bottom. He's going to get the advantage on that 7, and
but he's pushing up. He's pushing up. 7 misses the wall by inches as the number one's going to come up on the outside of Blake O'Connell, looking to make a move, but Blake's going to be able to hold the bottom through the corners, probably keep the advantage as long as he can make the most of it. He gets the apron a little bit. Good thing for him, though, is the number one bobbled through the center of 3 and 4. He's going to keep the position. The number 67, that is. Jeremy Bazemore looking to bring Matthew Cox up on the high side, and Blake O'Connell just trying to make it around this place. Maybe gave the one a little more room than he had to there, but he's going to complete the pass, really complete defending from the pass of Jeremy Bazemore. He's going to keep that position of P4. And just outside the top 5, we've got Jimmy North now coming back into the picture. First time we've really talked about him all night. He's looking to challenge the number 04. Scott Brotherton is actually just right behind him.
So we can see that. And it seems like he's doing himself pretty well right now.
Looks
Sorry
like
there, Michael.
it's no problem. It looks like the battle for the lead's kind of stalled out on the 88. As Cook's gradually spreading that lead back out. But the battle is definitely behind him between Montesi, O'Connell, and Bazemore. Looks like the 84 of Jimmy North's going to make a move on the 04.
And there was contact, I think.
Contact.
Yeah, there may have been contact there. We saw them push up, and now Blake O'Connell going for the move. That's me, Mike Montesi letting him go. I think Mike Montesi is just counting on the number 67 running his tires a little too hard and having a little bit less speed in the long run. So for now, he lets him go. doesn't want to lose a whole bunch of time and right back to Jeremy Bazemore in 5th. So nice sportsmanlike move there by the number 7. Number 67, pencil him into 3rd place. He's going to push up out of turn 2, get the wall!
And I just wanted to let you guys know the number 5 car of James McKee has went over the wall and into the garage. So
Number 67 loose, number 1 Nate contact, and they're spinning out of turn 4.
Alright, man, caution is out. Caution
And he
is out.
saves it.
Oh, what a save.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's really good driving there, but we saw that one live. We're going to take another couple of looks at it, but that was something. I mean, he got the wall in turn 2. Out of turn 4, got loose, and number 1 didn't really have anywhere to go other than right into the back of Blake O'Connell. Looks like he's going to get a couple of spots back, though, based on when the caution flew. He kept it straight once the caution did fly, but we'll see where iRacing puts him back into. He was running 3rd, and it looks like he's going to get put all the way back into 4th. So not quite what I expected from iRacing. We're going to take another look back at that and hopefully catch up with Kurt Rittenberg. We're actually going to go on board here with the number 67 of Blake O'Connell, see what happens there. I think he just, I missed the corner a little bit, missed the apex, gets tight, crushes the outside wall, loses the spot, I believe, to Mike Montesi down the back straightaway, and then through 3 and 4 just got loose on the top side. The 1 didn't really have anywhere to go.
Oh, the 7 Montesi just had a bad pit stop. As he went sliding through his stall and he had to back up. He's definitely going to have a bad exit here. 49, 67, 88, 1. The 3 and the 04 is your battle off pit road, as Montesi is going to lose a lot of ground off pit road.
Yeah, but that's big for Blake O'Connell. Even with the troubles of that caution, he's going to end up 2nd out of pit road. I tell you what, that's big. That's really big. That gives him a break. He's going to gain a bunch out of that one and be up front once again for the restart. We're going to try and see if we can't catch up with the 00, though. That's Kurt Rittenberg. We saw him go for a spin earlier. We'll see if we can't catch up with him and get his thoughts on the track tonight. So, Kurt Rittenberg, this is Andrew Cardinale up in the booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so, I mean, we saw you go for the spin earlier. Nice job keeping it off the wall and out of harm's way there. We see you trying to battle your way back up. You're up into P10, it looks like. Maybe gain another spot or 2. Yep, up to 9th with the pit stop. How's everything feeling tonight? The track, the truck, how's it all feeling? And do you think it's going to change in the next 40 laps?
Well, it's feeling real good, especially the first 4 or 5 laps with new tires. You got real grip on the very bottom, and then especially when the tires wear out, you got to start moving into the center groove, and it's starting to get real slick on the exit of 4 on the lines I've been running. That's where I spun out before, but probably with the remaining laps we got, what about like 45 laps to go? I mean, it's really going to get probably even a little bit slicker because we're going to get a lot tighter in the air changing, so it's going to be fun after about 10 laps here when the tires get worn out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as you're coming kind of from the back of the pack when it comes to the chase, as we come into Chicago for the first race of the chase, what's your plans in this race to try and capitalize on this first round and capitalize on the chase as a whole to try and maybe pull a Jimmy Johnson and just really take advantage of the whole chase format in general, maybe try and get that championship there in Homestead?
I'd say I really want to win to advance on, then I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the next 3 races after this one. But trying to get the most points as possible, trying to get bonus points as fast as lap and things like that. But trying to get the highest position right now, especially ahead of a lot of the other chasers, so I have a little bit of cushion going into the next race.
All right, well, real quickly, thanks for your time. We'll let you get back up there with your team since you are coming to the green here. Again, thank you for your time. Best of luck to you tonight and in the rest of the chase, and we'll be looking to see how you do here tonight.
All right, thanks, guys. See you guys later.
All right, once again, that was Kurt Rittenberg, brother of Jeremy Rittenberg, who was out here earlier. He'll be restarting from P9, and we'll actually go on board with him. If we can do so. Yep, sure can. We'll go on board with him. He's going to be starting behind the number 84 of Jimmy North and the number 04 of Matthew Cox as they make up row 4 rather. Actually, the double O, or 04, sorry, is 6th. I think they're lagging back on the outside. So, Michael Redding, you're the best at it. It's your call for the restart.
All right, as we're getting set to take the green flag, your leader, David Cook, to his outside, Blake O'Connell, pace cars down.
Green flag.
And we are back underway at Chicagoland. Is David Cook's going to have the advantage once again on the restart. But don't look now, the 88 of Chris Jenkins is going to try to make a move on him as we head out to turn number 1 as he's right there on the back bumper of the 49 of Cook.
Yeah, that one car of Jeremy Bazemore gave the 67 a little bump, and that just gave him enough power to get clear, and he's right now in the 3rd spot in the catbird seat. He's trying to get past that 88, trying to make the move in turn 3, but it looks like he just cannot find any space. But everybody is just running around trying to catch positions like they're trying to find food out in the Wild West.
This race is getting intense as you see people making some wild moves now farther on in the back of the pack as it's getting dicey.
You can see that pretty well. I mean, the front are starting to get single file, but it's a different story from here on out.
If Cook could ever get a run on the 49, I'd probably say the race is over. Oh, the 3's in the wall. The 3 of Scott Brotherton is in the wall in turn number 1.
And that, I think, is going to end his night abruptly because he had such a fast car, but it looks like that's enough damage to end it. Or not give him the speed that he needs to win this race.
88 under the 49 as they head off into turn number 1. We got a change for the lead. Chris Jennings under the 49 of Cook, and he's going to take it as they head off into turn number 2.
Clear up, clear up, clear up. Oh, the 49's he was trying to make a crossover there, but he's knocking on heaven's door like he is on the 88 because he's trying to find another way around them. But this track is hard. And they're going all the way down to the apron just to try and find position, man.
Well,
This thing stays green. I think the 88's got this race won. I don't think there's another truck up there that's as strong as he is right now at this point.
I'll tell you what, Matt, I don't think he's knocking on heaven's door. I think he's knocking on Jennings' door. Chris Jennings off to the races now that he's up ahead of the number 49, David Cook. That's Blake O'Connell in P3 looking to take advantage of it. Looks like they're just going to file in single file for now. Single file has been the name of the game really tonight. Just got to keep riding in line, hope for a mistake from the guy in front of you. Unless you've got one of these more able trucks, it looks like that sometimes can go around the top or just get a good run out of the corner and somehow make a move down the straightaways into the corners. But Jeremy Bazemore not falling off. He's right behind them. And he's followed Matthew Cox a little bit further back.
There he is. He's trying to find a way. It just, I cannot find a way to see how this 67 is going to get past 49. 49 is going to bottom feed, but 67 is going to come trying below him. But does he have enough momentum to get past him? 67 is going to pull back on that 49 car. He's just going to let it ride it all out.
Looks like these 4 have pulled away from the 04 of Matthew Cox and the 84 of Jimmy North. They've kind of separated themselves from the rest of the field.
Yeah, it's a 4-car breakaway up front, most notably with that number 80 Chris Jennings. He, I'll tell you what, he set sail for that Darlington win back a couple of weeks ago, and he's doing the same thing here at Chicago. By no means similar tracks, but they're similar for him in that he's out front. We see Blake O'Connell make the move on David Cook down into turn 3. And he's going to complete the pass already. Maybe David Cook trying to make the crossover. It's not going to happen, though. Pencil at number 67 into P2. David Cook back to P3. And Jeremy Bazemore likely going to try and take advantage, but he's not going to be able to do it. Now we see Matthew Cox trying to bring the rest of the field back into the picture. We'll watch this battle carry out from Matthew Cox on board.
Toos. Ed Burrow with a nice save coming out in that icy machine. Oh, I'm going to find it out, but what he almost lost it coming out of turn 2 there. Yeah, that was pretty good for him.
I'll tell you what, as we come to 30 to go, I think this is probably as good a time as ever to go ahead and get a run through the field, get some, I guess, words escape me, I apologize, but get some attention, there we go, to the guys running throughout the field, be it first or last. First of all, we got Chris Jennings maintaining his lead out ahead of Blake O'Connell by, it looks like, 5/6 tenths of a second, then a few tenths behind him. That's going to be David Cook in the number 49. A little further back, that's Jeremy Bazemore, followed by the number 04, Matthew Cox, to complete your top 5. Michael, I'll give you 6th through 10th.
All right, 6th place is going to be the 10 of Mike Perry. 7th will be Jimmy North. 8th will be the 7 of Mike Montesi. 9th will be the 00 of Kurt Rittenberg. And 10th will be the 03 of Louis Robidet.
In 11th, we've got Michael Kunick in the number 34 machine. In 12th, we got Ed Burrell in the number 17. In 13th, we've got a chaser, David Doliber, or Double D, in the number 23 machine. In 14th, we've got the 78 of Matthew Miller 12. And in 15th, we've got Doug McCollum in the 33 machine.
And so from there on back, it looks like maybe Jeremy Rittenberg not having the night that he wants in the number 26. We talked to him earlier in the evening. Now he's in the pits, maybe trying to make a strategy call. Maybe these guys aren't good to the end, so it looks like maybe he's trying to short pit, get everyone else to come into the pits, but nonetheless, we'll keep going through the field. It's actually, yeah, I'd say that's a strategy call. We've got Scott Brotherton also in. So it's a bit of an interesting time, but we'll keep going through the field. P17, that's Scott Brotherton. Behind them is Cody Spiker in the number 19. Team Designs Chevy Silverado. And then we get to some guys that didn't have the greatest luck tonight. The 08 of Mike Payton, number 5, James McKee. And, they'll round out your 20-car field, but we saw some guys come into the pits. We'll see if we can't get another look at them. 26 now coming back onto the track. We'll see if that forces the hand of guys like Chris Jennings up front. I think after a couple laps it probably will. It's not going to be that big of a gain at first, but especially... Actually, I'm wrong. We have Scott Brotherton in there. He's been sitting there. Jeremy Rittenberg maybe trying to force it. I don't think it's going to, considering no one came with him. But it'll be interesting to see what happens now with strategy, because it's a very odd move. Jeremy Rittenberg wasn't really off the pace or anything. He was still with the pack in terms of, on the lead lap, wasn't really going too slow or anything like that. Not sure what that move is all about.
As I stated earlier, if Jennings got out to the lead, he would probably dominate the rest of this, as he's done stretched the lead now to a 1.134 second lead as he crosses the line.
Yeah, we see him a second and a third up ahead of Blake O'Connell. Looks like maybe Blake is trying to run it a little bit harder into the corner. He's going to push up this time. I don't think he got the wall there, but he's definitely flirting with disaster. Really pushing it into the corner and hoping it sticks. Maybe not the best long-term strategy, but I think he may have one of the best trucks on the short run. A little bit behind him, like we mentioned earlier, and still David Cook and Jeremy Bazemore battling for 4th spot. Matthew Cox still holding tough in 5th.
That's a nice little top 5 right there, especially with some of them just trying to just ride it on out. You can see that number 88 of Chris
may have a problem with Jeremy Bazemore. He may be pitting, or may have just been a problem there. We'll see what happens as they come out of 4. He's not going to go down pit road, but he keyed up the mic for the in-race chatter. And not sure what he said, but I have to imagine it was along the lines of "Go ahead, I'm slower," because he just let these guys go by.
I think he's just going to let it ride on out because, I mean, he's got nothing else to lose, and maybe in the couple of laps he might be pitting. That would be the most reasonable thing, is that he might be pitting and you want to let him by.
Well, but the odd thing there is, if you're going to short pit, which is honestly the best move anyone can try and employ if you're sitting back where you're not in a position like Blake O'Connell, David Cook to maybe have a chance to run Chris Jennings down. Best chance is to short pit and try and catch a caution once you do, because you're going to gain some time on the leaders. You're going to possibly be able to move up ahead of Chris Jennings at least for a bit of time. And you're going to want a caution to come out. And with green flag pit stops, it's a great opportunity as we see the number 67 coming into the pits. He smokes the tires on the way in, and he's going to spin it. He's going to spin it on entry.
That might have been a worse thing than Denny Hamlin at that Southern 500, because he was in second, and now he just screwed it all up.
Yeah, he's going to lose a lot of time on that.
Yeah, but as I was just mentioning, I mean, this forces the hand of David Cook. If he's going to try something, he has to come in probably this time by. He's got to try and force the hand of Chris Jennings. He's going to opt to stay out on the track. I don't think unless we get a caution, he's going to have any chance at the number 88. I think that was a great last-ditch effort, really, by Blake O'Connell to try and force something to happen. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't quite there as he smoked the tires coming down off the bank and got the truck unsettled and spun it out as he was trying to make pit speed. But as I was saying, you have to try and force the hand of the leader. Blake O'Connell, had he not spun, was going to gain a lot of time on some other guys up there. We actually see some other guys pitting. Mike Montesi, Michael Sunick, Jeremy Rittenberg, and Matthew Miller all came through the pits recently and have gone a lap down. But again, just a great move, I think, by Blake O'Connell to try something. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't there at all. And I really don't think, as David Cook, did he have a slip-up or something? The relative all of a sudden showed him 6 seconds back, but Mike Perry still only 3 seconds back. Now it's correcting itself. But, I mean, you got to try and make something happen, especially if you are in the chase. Blake O'Connell, David Cook, not in yet, or not in at all this season, but, I mean, it's an effort, A for effort, I suppose. But yeah, I don't think...
One race away, though.
Yeah, I don't think unless there's a caution they can even think about passing the number 88 as we see the number 10 get by the number 46. And there's the 67 going back around the number 88, or going to try to at least here in turns 1 and 2. Try and get one of his 2 laps back as he will complete that pass. And we'll go back and focus on the number 10, the number 49, and the number 1. They're back in a battle. So really, Jeremy Bazemore, in terms of battling the guys he needs to for the chase.
Oh, the later almost lost it on the pit road.
All right, and that, with Chris Jennings coming in now, everyone else staying out, what they got to do, if they have the fuel to do it, is try and do what Dale Jr. did at Richmond here, coming to the last race before the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, as we see Jimmy North also coming into the pits. They've got to try out and stay out try and stay out as long as they can. Try and catch a caution and catch the number 88 a lap down, or at least in the back of the pack. And if nothing else, lead some laps. But it's going to be very difficult to do that. I'm not sure what the fuel is looking like for these guys, but the tires are going to be the main concern. We saw Blake O'Connell easily pass the number 88, and he was the leader at the time. So clearly there's a big advantage if we see the number 88 come out right here. He's still on the lead lap. He's only going to be left by a car. So Chris Jennings, I think we have to pencil him in at P1, but anything can happen. Anything can happen, but, I mean, he's only a lap down by 6 car lengths. So, unless a caution comes out now, you're not going to gain anything if you're one of these guys. I think you have to come in right here at 15 to go. It's, you know, the earliest now that you can come in is going to be your best bet. You're not going to win the race, but you could try and just keep the upper hand on everyone else around you. And, you know, Mike Perry, if I'm him, I'm going to come in right behind the 88 here. It looks like maybe Jeremy Bazemore preparing to do that himself, as he will come into the pits here with 15 to go.
You can see that number 1 car, Bazemore. He was originally in the 3rd spot. Let's see what he's going to do. Do you think he's going to take 4 too, or just fuel only?
Well, I think I definitely would have tried on one of the earlier restarts, seen what 2 was like. If it loosens me up, I'm going to take 2. But I don't think that's going to do it for tonight. I think it's... Actually, he takes 2 and he's out.
2?
So,
2?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would have tried it, and if it's going to loosen me up, I'm going to take it. Anything to loosen me up, you know, when we've asked multiple drivers how the track is, and they've said it's tight. I mean, if you're tight, you want to be looser, want to correct that. We'll see if this number 1 goes a lap down, then go back up to the lead battle of Mike Perry, David Cook, and Matthew Cox. I don't think he's going to go a lap down.
I think he might just make it. And that's also going to loosen up the car, so it'll
David
make it
Cook
even
in the
better
pits.
for him.
We missed him actually by a bit. Mike Perry also in the pits. He's going to be exiting here, so the leaders came in as well. They may have taken 4, though.
I just heard over radio chatter somebody spun, but I don't think it's going to throw a caution then.
We'll have to wait here and see what exactly happens with the shakedown of the pit cycle. But a guy like maybe Doug McCullum trying to stay out as long as he can, catch a caution, possibly like I was suggesting, you know, earlier. Maybe catch this caution here, gain some spots, and take 2 when the caution does come out. Try and gain something, but it's going to be tough, I'll tell you what. We're going to go ahead and follow up on the number 1. He's actually only P7. He's well behind Chris Jennings, but we'll see if that gives him the leg up on the guys he was battling, being Mike Perry and, sorry, I'm blanking now. I believe it was the number 49 of David Cook.
And yes, it was.
Has Matthew Cox even pitted yet?
He has not. So that whole top 3 right now is still on the same tires that they restarted the race with. But after that, we get into Chris Jennings, who pitted just a little while ago. After that, we see Ed Burrell now coming to the pits. So that's just the top 2 that's still out there. We'll follow Doug McCullum. But as I was saying, the top 2, Matthew Cox, Doug McCullum still have not pitted. Then we get back to Chris Jennings. He has come in. Mike Montesi short pitted. Looks like he'll gain some spots out of it. Jeremy Bazemore tried to pull a 2-tire stop. He may gain a little bit on the guys he was battling, but he's going to have to get up at the number 7. David Dolliver, he came in. So really we're just waiting on the number 04 and the number 33 to come in. And then we've got a full pit cycle. We can see where these guys are going to cycle out into. But for now, I don't think anyone has any chance to beat Chris Jennings without a caution.
It looks like O'Connell finally got both of his laps back, as he's now on the lead lap, 33 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, and that's going to be really easy to lose. I mean, we're running pretty much 30-some second lap times anyways around Chicago. Generally about 29s, I believe, actually. But it looks like maybe these guys are running in the 32-second range as the tires have worn on. So Blake O'Connell not back on the lead lap by much, but we see Doug McCullum get tight. Sorry, Doug McCollum. Maybe he was given the spot up to the 49. It looks like these guys are going to have to pit.
The 49 is just gonna fly on by that 04 car, still staying out. Just the question is when it is going to happen.
And
I mean, you can see Doug McCollum is actually starting to close the gap on the 04.
Yeah, and what I want to bring up is we got to watch the relative right now. We got to watch the delta between Doug McCollum and Chris Jennings, because if these guys have the fuel to go just 6.5 more laps, that changes everything about this race. That changes everything we've been calling, because now these guys are going to plan to go the last 50 laps, I believe, or even 60 on one tank of gas, and I didn't think they could. But now, we've got Doug McCollum and Matthew Cox maybe looking like they were trying to save and go these extra so many laps, but Chris Jennings is closing in. He's now within 3 seconds, and just a lap ago when I started talking about this, he was 4.5 back.
And how interesting is that?
But if the other thing to keep in mind here is if, say, Doug McCollum can make it to the end, if Matthew Cox were to come in just 2 laps, and if the number 33 still somehow has the lead or even second place, think about what that does. If the 04 comes in because he can't make it, maybe spins out, causes a caution, or if any caution was to come out now that Doug McCollum's in P1, that's a race win.
Oh, and the 04 is out of gas, I think. Because he just called that he's pitting in right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's out of gas, but that was, I guess, a heads-up call by me. He's pitting this time. If he was to somehow spin this truck out, we've seen a couple of guys do it. And he will! And it's not going to be caution, I don't think, but if he had ended up in the grass, maybe that could have been a caution.
And how big of a race creator would that have been?
I mean, Doug McCollum, you have to, I'm going to clap right here as I'm on the mic. You gotta give a hats off to the guy right here. If he makes it to the end, just 3 more laps, he's in the wall here, but even if he just holds that second spot, that is such a heads-up call to just keep going on the old tires and just push to the end as best as he can. He's going to end up P2, P3 after we didn't talk about him at all.
That is something, man. I mean, that 88 is just, he is pulling it out there. Let's see what's going to happen in the next 2
slowing out of
laps.
4. He's coming in this time. Doesn't look like he had the gas to make it. Is he going to spin it 2? He does.
All right, man. Caution
That's a
is out.
caution.
Caution is out.
That's a caution.
There it is.
I don't think it was him, though. I don't.
It was not him. It was the number, the number 67 there got destroyed.
And that's Blake O'Connell. We've talked about him all kinds the last 2 weeks. We'll see what goes on here, though. As Chris Jennings will be your winner, Mike Montesi second, Jeremy Bazemore third, Jimmy North going to be fourth, Mike Perry fifth, Michael Sunick going to be sixth. What happens here? The 03 just spun. 67 had nowhere to go.
It was netcode.
Yeah, definitely that code.
That was netcode again, but that was such a huge gap and kills the 67 there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Maybe some contact for the 03 from maybe the 49 as he was on good tires trying to come up through the field as best as he could. We've got a look coming in at 1 and 2. The 49 catching the 03 and definite netcode, like you guys said. That's just a big old gap. Blake O'Connell nowhere to go. I think they're the only 2 involved, but we'll quickly switch back to the winner. He's still on the throttle. He's still going. I think he's trying to catch the pace car.
Yep, he's at the pace car right now. Coming off of 3 and 4. Is he a chaser?
Chris Jennings will get the win, the first chase win for anyone. The first chase race is going to be his second win on air for us. And he is in the chase, Skippy, like you asked there. Jeremy Bazemore also in the chase. Jimmy North, they want to think about Mike Perry as well. I believe the next chase driver after that, I'll have to review, but I believe after that it goes to Kurt Rittenberg in 8th. So we'll quickly go through the field here. We had Chris Jennings up in first. He'll get his second win on PSI TV in the Manifold Truck Series. Behind him, that's Mike Montesi in second. After that, it's Jeremy Bazemore rounding out your top three. Then Jimmy North in the number 84 will take it home P4. After that, it's going to be Mike Perry in the number 10. And Skippy, I'll let you take 6th through 10th.
All right, and finishing in the 6th position is going to be Michael Kunick in the number 34 machine. In 7th, we've got the 49 of David Cook. In the 8th spot, we've got Kurt Rittenberg. In the 9th spot, we've got the 23 machine of David Doliver. And rounding out your top 10 is going to be Blake O'Connell.
In 11th will be the 03 of Louis Robinette. In 12th will be the 17 of Ed Burrell. In the 13th position will be the 04 of Matthew Cox. And the 14th will be the 26 of Jeremy Rittenberg. The 15th position will be the 78 of Matthew Miller. The 16th position will be the 33 of Doug McCullum. The 17th position will be Scott Brotherton. And the 18th will be the 19 of Cody Spicer. The 19th, the 08 of Mike Payton. And the 20th will be the 5 of James McKee.
All right, and we're going to take a look at Chris Jennings getting his burnouts here in Joliet, Illinois. That's a big win for him. You know, Darlington was just to add to his already amazing season here in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series. But this really just, I mean, it starts even more great things for that team. He's got his first chase win already in the first chase race. And much like Martin Truex Jr. last year, I think you have to pencil him in as the favorite. I mean, that was the NASCAR Cup Series, but even here, you know, just one race, even on an internet race, you can already tell who might be the favorites. And Chris Jennings certainly asserting his name as one of those over in this series. First off, as we get some interviews ready, Michael Redding, I'll let you catch up with our third place finisher, Jeremy Bazemore, in the number 1.
All right, Jeremy, had a third place finish here tonight. Looked a little strong early, and then you slipped to the back a little bit and managed to find your way back to third. How was the race for you?
It was long. Oh, missed my pit stall early in the race and had to go to the back. That was a killer.
Well, you definitely fought back for a solid top 3 finish. And what's your thoughts going forward into the chase?
Just try to run consistent. I don't know if I can outrun all these guys, but if I can run consistent, I think maybe I can make it to the end again.
Well, I would have to say you're one of the favorites as far as my side goes. I'm kind of pulling for you there. I picked you last week. Was going to pick you this week. Wasn't sure you had a pretty bad qualifying position. I wasn't sure if he's going to be able to fight back from that far back. But nonetheless, you picked up third. You had a good race, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was fun. Hopefully it was a little better for y'all than last week.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It was an exciting race to call for sure.
All right, well, thank you, Jeremy Bazemore, for your time. We're going to move you back up, and we're going to grab our second place finisher of Mike Montesi, Matthew Skipper. I'll let you catch up with him.
Mike Montesi, you got a copy on me, man?
I'm here.
You dominated a lot of this race, but you came up home runner-up. How do you feel?
Do you want the honest answer, or do you want me to lie?
However you feel.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out whether blowing that last pit stop and losing 8 spots cost me a chance at the win or gave me a chance at the win, because I was definitely towards the end of the race, as rubber got laid down, I was definitely a short run truck. So I cut everything in half, and it gave me a big advantage coming out, because obviously nobody else did that. I didn't see anybody else do that, and it gave me a shot. Now, if I had stayed in third place and was able to do that without anybody copying me, I probably would have had a much better chance, but who knows? 6-1, half a dozen to the other.
Well, it seemed like you dominated this whole entire race from the beginning. You moved back to second for a little bit, came back to the lead, and then fell back, and then here you are second. How did the car feel during the race?
Early on, it was perfect. So it was just loose enough where I could go 7 or 8 laps without letting off the gas, and that changed. But the first run, did not seem to be short run. But by the middle of the race, I knew, after 20, 25 laps, I was extremely push loose. So that helped, I guess, in the end.
Well, you gave us a great race to show, especially with that number 7 Exide car just showing off your skills here at Chicagoland. How did the track feel as it got grippier during the race?
Yeah, like I said, it got tighter, but it made you really have to put a lot of steering input into the car, and it doing that when you were behind a car on entry made you loose on entry, but if you were not right behind a car, it would make you loose on exit. So that made it a fun race because early on it was really, you could really go a long way without letting off the gas, and that's always kind of no fun. But
Well, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank?
just thank Mike Payton for getting me into this league, and thank the league, thank the Rittenbergs, and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other people, but thanks.
All right, no problem. Thank you for showing us a great race and your skills here at Chicago.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right, well, that was your second place finisher of Mike Montesi in the number 7. We've been documenting him over the last couple of weeks. Before we catch up with tonight's race winner of Chris Jennings in the number 88, we're going to take just a quick commercial break, make sure we're all ready to go, and we'll be right back.
In this cauldron of fiery wills and burning competition, rivalries heat up quicker. This is an oval of stolen victories and crushed dreams, filled with volumes of unfinished business. Sooner or later, you all become rivals. With everyone fighting over one finish line, there's never enough glory to go around.
Alright, and we're back. So, like I mentioned, we're going to have Chris Jennings up here in just a moment. And we've got him. Chris Jennings, this is Andrew up in the booth. First off, big congrats to you. That's your second win in just 3 races with us. I mean, maybe didn't have the car at the start of the race, but you certainly worked your way through the field just like you tried to do at Richmond. And I'll tell you what, you closed that one out in dominating fashion, just leading the whole back half of the race and even trying to, totally foil the guys that were trying to stay out, and definitely did a good job of that. So, again, first off, congratulations. And what can you tell us about just everything tonight, the track, the truck, and how it was all handling?
It was a fun race, man. It was challenging at the beginning. I just kept overshooting my pit, losing a couple spots, and then it seemed like every time I started to gain on them, it's just caution would come out. So as the rubber got laid down on the track, I think my truck just started getting better and better. So.
All right, well, we certainly did see that happen. We saw that number 88 Exalta Chevrolet Silverado of yours come from kind of mid-pack at the start, just work your way up and consistently get better. What does this really set in motion for you as we go into the rest of the races for the chase?
Well, it's relieving to be locked into the next round because you just never know when you're going to get a win in here. It's a lot of good competition. We're getting new guys that seem pretty fast too, so it's getting tougher and tougher to get wins in here. So I'm glad to get this one out of the way.
For sure. Well, before we let you go, continue to celebrate the win with your team. Is there anyone you want to thank for your big win here tonight?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank All Star Sim Racing and all the admins that work so hard to put this deal on for us. And I know Jeremy and Kurt and Scott, and I'm sure there's some others that just they put a lot of time and effort into this to make it a good series, and it's really pays off. It shows their hard work, and thank you guys for coming aboard.
For sure. Well, thank you for continuing to put on our show here for us and giving us something to commentate. We'll let you, like I said, go back and continue to celebrate this win with your team. Once more, congratulations, and we'll see what you can do next week.
Great. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
All right, and once again, that was tonight's winner, Chris Jennings. He won back at Darlington, our first race with these guys, and had some trouble at Richmond. Sorry, he won at Darlington, had trouble at Richmond, and now he comes here and completely redeems himself and then some, wins again, and I mean, what can you say? I think he's got to be written down as the favorite for the rest of the chase. What do you guys think?
I'm going to agree with you 100% on that. I mean, you can see from Darlington, it seems like his soft spot is grippy tracks. I mean, even though Darlington is very hot and slick, it really seems like Chris really knows his way through. And like you said with the analogy before, he's somewhat of the Martin Truex Jr. of this series, this chase right now.
For sure. Well, I'll ask you both this question. Michael, first, what was your favorite part about tonight's race? I mean, we had all kinds of moments. I mean, if you could single out one big moment in tonight's race, what would that be?
My big moment of the race is when Chris Jennings took the lead from David Cook, sorry. Just muscled up and took it from him.
And so then I'll follow that up with you, Skippy. What was your big moment of tonight's race?
I think, I mean, other than this is my first broadcast with you guys here at this league, it was a very good one. I think it might have been that first caution where it was with Joe Hudson going for a wild ride there. I mean, I hope he's all right still, but you know, it was a great race. Overall, if I could actually pick one out of everything, I would agree with Michael. Is the lead changes from one to another, just to show who's better in the long run.
All right, well, for sure. And if I had to pick one, definitely the strategy at the end. I mean, we saw Doug McCullum and Matthew Cox almost put themselves in a position to win. Say if a caution was to come out a little bit earlier for Doug McCullum in the number 33, I think he's got to be kicking himself now for not staying out a couple of laps longer if he had the opportunity. But, I mean, that was just really cool to see that evolve throughout the last 60 or so laps. I mean, I really did believe that number 33 was going to be able to go the whole way and finish second, but we saw him pull it into the pits, maybe didn't have the gas to go the whole way, or just didn't want to maybe get in the way, lose positions, not sure there. But, I mean, definitely, I think the strategy at the end, Michael, you pointed it out at the top of the show, you know, that this place had the potential of being a fuel mileage race, and it almost was. It really almost was with the 33 and the 04, but we saw Chris Jennings muscle by the both of them, and, I mean, I think it just put on a great show right at the end.
Yeah, I think if we wouldn't have had that next to last caution, this definitely would have been a fuel mileage race. But after that, I think it wasn't really so much as a fuel mileage race. It played into a strategy race more than anything of what tires you was going to take, 4 or 2. And I think that's what we saw there towards the end, more than a fuel mileage race. Those Sun drivers did run out of fuel. I don't know. You could say it could be a fuel mileage race, and then again, you could say it wasn't.
Certainly. Well, as we close the show down for the night here from the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series, got to give a big shout out and a big thank you to, first off, the league for allowing us to broadcast their awesome races. Secondly, Thanks goes out to Pit Stop Insider, TN Designs, and then also all of our mobile fleet repair and Scott Brotherton Images. Thank you to everyone who continues to support BSI TV and our future endeavors. Hopefully we'll see you back here next week with not only, of course, the second race of the chase here, I believe, from New Hampshire, but hopefully also dirt next week, I believe, with the final round over at NMNTS of the TN Designs Big 4 Street Stocks on dirt event, and that will be at Eldora Speedway. That should be a nice event to cover. A lot of big storylines going into that one. So, really just a couple of big races coming up here pretty soon. We won't have any dirt this weekend, but once again, next week we have the Thursday race here with All-Star Sim Racing, followed by that Saturday Street Stock event from Eldora. So, thanks everyone for coming out and watching. This is Andrew Cardinale from the booth, and we will see you guys next time.